Okay, this video is for those students who are interested in coming back, practice wheel, so renting the wheel, and it's like a self-guided, but this video is just a refresher on what you need to do while you are practicing. So I'm just gonna clean my wheel quickly because I was throwing. This is a very nice therapeutic way of cleaning your wheel. You remember, because you are a beginner, I would like your hands to be nice and dry and clean. I would like your wheel to also be nice and dry because I don't want your clay to fly off to the ceiling. Yeah, all right. So, so what you need to do, we're gonna be doing the centering, we're gonna be doing the opening, and then we're gonna create the hole in the middle, and then we're gonna do the cutting in and widening, and then we're gonna compress the bottom, and then we're gonna pull the wall up, and then we're gonna trim the foot. So first, when you start, you need to tap, 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 tap your clay, make it look like a nice round shape looking like an orange. You don't need to overdo this. And then just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of water. I find students get carried away and add too much water. Tiny, tiny, just to help your clay stick. And then I'm gonna try to be quick because this video, Instagram doesn't allow a long video. So when this cut out, I will actually have it on YouTube so you can see the full version. All right, so you have a circle on your wheel. Mine has a bat, so it doesn't have a circle. So what you're gonna aim for is the middle. Smack it. If you think it's still not in the middle, you can move it around. No big deal. Just move it a little bit so you can actually find the middle. And then I'm gonna get you to tap, tap, tap. Mistake students do. They tap only from the top. The clay ends up too flat. We don't want that. We want to tap from the sides and from the top, from every direction. Now, this step, which some potters don't like doing because so it's sealing your clay against the wheel head. Some potters, they don't like that because now your clay is sealed off center. You're going to have to work harder on making it centered. Anyway, and then check your clay if it's nice and secured. Now I'm gonna center, which is the first step. So centering is 2 steps. We're gonna do the coning up and down, and then the second step, which is pushing your clay towards 2 o'clock and then pushing down at the same time. So some potter, they do either this step or that step. I like to combine them both together so you can eventually in the future find your way of centering. But if you have a big piece, it's ideal to also do cone up and down because you want to center it from the middle as well. For me, I'm gonna go full speed because I'm confident with full speed. For you, maybe start with 3/4 if you think it's a little bit too intimidating. And then as you get more experience, you can increase the speed. Speed does help centering, however, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go full speed. Now, usually I start coning up and then down, but again, I would like you to cone down first. The reason being, I find when students start coning up, they use so much pressure from this section here, and then the clay comes off. So I would like you to cone down first before you start coning up. And again, reminder about the posture. You need to be as close as possible to your wheel. See where your knees are? Don't be scared of the wheel. It's not gonna bite you. I want your belly touching the splash pan. Now, you can lift your heels up, pretending that you're wearing high heels, so your arm can sort of sit on your thigh. Elbow always tucked in. You could have them tucked in against your sort of breast, against your rib cage, against that hip bone, which I prefer, always tucked in. During the process, you will forget and your elbow will fly away. So always look like a squirrel, not like a chicken. So keep reminding yourself with that posture is very important. So I already have cone down. So now I'm gonna cone up. So when you cone up, you start from this section, and as the clay goes up, the pressure goes up too. Don't keep the pressure from here because your clay will come off. You don't want your clay off the wheel, you want your clay on the wheel. So start like this, and now the pressure is moving up. I would like your hands really close like this, I find mistakes students do when they're coning up, their hands look like that. I would like them completely closed. See, now you can't even see my clay. It's hiding from you. That's what I would like for you to look like. And then once you get to the top, don't release quickly, because if you release quickly, you're back to square one. Always release slowly, and when you come to your clay, you come slowly. You will forget and you will release quickly, but that's okay. That's normal. So now I'm gonna cone down. So see, I'm gonna come down with my thumbs, elbow tucked in now against my breast. As I'm going down, I don't want my elbow to fly. I want my elbow to still be tucked in, down, down, down towards my hip bone. So let's practice. So here we go. We start with the thumb, and then they are down, and I'm gonna close my hand. Now I'm gonna do what? Release slowly. Otherwise, I'm back to square one. So now maybe it's 75% centered. Let's check. I can still feel a wobble, so that's not me. That means it's not centered. I would like you to do the cone 2 times. Don't do it because your clay will get too saturated and then it becomes weaker. So now, step 2 of centering is, I call it 2 o'clock and the hammer. So your right hand is pushing your clay towards 2 o'clock. Your left hand is doing the hammering. You know, like you're hammering something, you're hammering the nail. So usually I'd like my right hand to grab the thumb of my left hand and push down. But don't just push down, push towards 2 o'clock at the same time. Again, your posture is very important with this technique. I would like your elbow to be tucked in against your hip bone. This is your hip bone, not this one. It's this one. So you lift your cheek up, your bum up, bum cheek up. And then now I find students start from here. You want to start from here because you're pushing towards 2 o'clock. And then you're going to grab it. And then this arm, I would like it to sit on the splash band here. And now I'm pushing towards 2 o'clock. And I'm pushing down at the same time. Now the clay has no options but to be centered. Again, I'm gonna release slowly. Sometimes this happens, it doesn't matter. It's just because of the way our hands are. They're not big enough to cover the whole thing, but try to flatten it so it's big enough to cover the whole thing. We can get rid of that by just sort of like gradually, slowly moving the that way. So let's try and do this again, just to make sure it's 100% centered. I think there's still a wobble. Again. Beautiful. Release slowly. All right, cool. So now what we're gonna do, if you draw a circle around your clay, if that circle is even all the way around, that tells me, let's maybe stop it and see if the circle's even. So that tells me your clay is centered. Yeah, I think maybe there is a slight difference. So I'm just gonna maybe do that thing again. And then release slowly. Okay, and then you can also check by putting your hand there. If it's not fighting your hand, you can check by looking this way. And then let's bring the clay down gradually and look at those lines. They look nice and even. So that tells me it's centered. Now the second step is the opening. I'm keeping the same speed. I like to open with my right thumb. But if I'm drilling my right thumb down by itself, it's not stable, it's shaking. So I would like to support it with my left thumb. Now, both hands resting here. They're not doing anything, they're just resting here. My right thumb is coming down, choose the center, and then my left thumb is supporting it. Don't go all the way down because you don't want to create a planter. You want to create a mug or a cylinder. Stop your wheel, grab your needle tool. Where is my needle tool? Okay. So for me, I'm using this one because I don't want to damage my bat. So forget about your left hand. Just do it with the right hand because I find student gets confused. Push it all the way down. The pinky is going to come down. It's going to hit the floor. It's going to stay nice and steady. It's going to come out. That tells me I've got 1 centimeter. That's a good depth. You don't want to go lower than that or thicker than that. So now the second step is opening, cutting in and widening. This is your left hand. I would like you to bring your right hand like this. So learn this technique. And then these 3 fingers are not invited to the party. Only that finger is invited. So what you're gonna do, I'm still going full speed. I'm gonna sit here. My wrist is sitting on the splash band, and this one is on the wheel, my hand, and these again are not invited. And I'm just gonna push the clay towards 9 o'clock. While you're doing that, don't keep digging. You're only pushing the clay because you don't want that hole to get deeper. And then I'm just gonna compress the rim. Compressing the rim is like, imagine you're shooting someone with your left hand. It comes down here. The right 2 fingers comes and grab it this way. Beautiful. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start pulling the wall. I'm gonna reduce the speed because I'm pulling the walls up. Water goes on the wall. We like it on the wall. However, we don't like it in the middle. Otherwise, we're gonna end up with an S crack. The way you do it, I use these 2 fingers. This finger just sitting there to help. So it's the middle one and the thumb, and they pointing towards 4 o'clock. That sponge with my right hand comes in, and I'm lifting the clay up. Everything needs to be parallel against each other. I don't want that finger to be at 3 o'clock and that finger to be at 5 o'clock and that finger to be at 7 o'clock or whatever. They all need to be in the same section, in the same design, like the same line where 4 o'clock is. And now when you start pushing, I would start with a 50% pressure, and then when you get to the middle, 100% pressure, and then when you go to the top, lower it down to 50%. So here we go, elbow tucked. And we're getting to the top. You bend your sponge towards the center. And now I have to go with the gun and compress the rim. Okay, I feel there's something fighting here. I don't know. Maybe we are not completely centered. Okay, let's reduce the speed, because now as we go higher, the speed needs to go lower. So we're adding a little bit more water to the wall. We're getting rid of that water on the food. Again, 4 o'clock. And you can try to get as high as possible. My rim is a little bit wobbly. I'm not sure what happened, so I'm just gonna give it a little haircut. Don't recommend you doing this. Maybe ask for my help. But yeah, I've just got rid of this little bit of extra clay. For some reason, that top part is not centered. Okay, we'll do a third pull. You can keep pulling. You've got 400 grams. You can go really high, up to like 11 centimeter. But for you as a beginner, you don't have to do that. So now we got down here. For the sake of keeping the video short, I can go higher than that. As well, if your clay flare out, the rim flares out, that's the central force which pushing the clay out. Get me to help you, because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna color it in. I'm gonna choke it, that coloring in, which is a little bit, takes a while to learn how to do it. I would like my rim to always be nice and close together. Let's do a last pull. Now I'm gonna do that salute, because my hands can't reach all the way down. So I'm putting all my hands in. It's still tucked in the air. All right, beautiful. So now I'm just gonna call it a pot, just for the sake of the time. I could go higher. Okay, cool. Now this step, which I find students find it confusing. This is your wooden knife. You've got the flat side and you've got the curved side. I hope the camera is covering everything. You've got the flat side and the curved side. So the curved side is going against the clay. I am pointing towards 11 o'clock, and this is the right way of holding it. Not like you once you get down, you sort of like push towards 11 o'clock and then you flick it down. So this is how you do it. You flick down. This is gonna fight you. It's just like when you go and get your blood test and trying to draw some blood from your arm. The body's gonna fight that needle, but that's okay. Ignore it. Just keep going. Be a little bit more dominant. And then this one, which is gonna be in your case the needle tool, it's gonna be very flat on the wheel head, and it's gonna come in, and we stop the wheel, and then we take this off. Beautiful. The last step, which is the chamois, which is this one. The way you hold your chamois is, now I'm starting with my thumb, and then I'm gonna bring my two pointy fingers. I have a little bit of speed, and then I'm just gonna basically compress that rim so it is nice to drink out of if this is a mug. Beautiful. And then I'll stop the wheel, and then I'll add a little bit of water here, and then I'm gonna come in with the wire, sort of around your finger, and then use your thumb, push them really, really down, and then come in, and that's ready to go. You could just slide it off this way and take it, a bit dangerous, or you could use the tool that I showed you. But anyway, I hope this is helpful. So in this session, you will be doing it by yourself. It's self-guided. This video is helping you as a refresher. If you get stuck, I can help you, but I might be there on doing another workshop. And I just don't want my other student to be disappointed when I neglect them and come and help you. So yeah, try to be as independent as is, because this is just designed for you to rent the wheel and learn. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube you can watch and you can learn from. And have a good one.